Not all women like Rush, but this one sure does. This is Lauren, and my name is Russ, and this is the Infectious Groove Music Channel here on YouTube. And I think, honestly, it's more uncommon to come across a woman who likes the band Rush than to come across a woman who does like the band Rush. I had the pleasure of seeing Rush 4 times while they were with us as a band, and I honestly think that I saw 1 or 2 women in the entirety of like 4 arenas, you know? And to be clear, I'm not gatekeeping at all. Like, you and I have had many talks about this where I'm like, I don't understand why more women don't like Rush, but like, please welcome in, you know, like, be more like her. Come in and enjoy Rush. But we are doing our series of 5 songs to start with. And to be honest, this woman right here knows quite a bit more about like the broad range of Rush music than I do. So she said, let me take that Rush video. And the reason we're doing this intro is because I was like, you know what? I think most people are going to be surprised to see a woman, of all people, being like, I'm going to tell you the 5 Rush songs to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to start this by saying that there's some really great stuff in Rush's later catalog, but as a like 5 songs to start with thing, I'm kind of going classic Rush.
And what's funny is the first tour I saw Rush on was Counterparts. And it's not that I knew some of these songs you're going to mention before that, but like, Counterparts and that harder edged later Rush is how I got into them. But I could, if anybody on earth said, what does Rush sound like? I would lean towards the 5 songs you said.
Cool. And I did it right. So the first song is, I feel like this is the first song to listen to if you're trying to get into Rush, and it's The Spirit of Radio. And I mean, the riff at the beginning is undeniable. And like, there are so many different parts to this song that it really does give you an idea like, oh, so this is what this Rush is all about.
It's progressive, it's reggae, it's rock. It's, it's just so many different flavors.
Yeah.
And for me, and you've had the pleasure of hearing this in the car, I personally would recommend any live version of Spirit of Radio, because all of Geddy Lee's ad-libs, and I think you've heard all of them now.
I'm sure I have.
No matter what version we're listening to, I will do the ad-libs from any other version. But Spirit of Radio is like, we would never do a series of like 1 song to start with, but if we did one for Rush, that would be the song.
Totally. Yeah, that would be it.
So that's a good one. Now you go to a little kinder, gentler.
Kinder, gentler song, yeah. It's closer to the heart, and you know, you're right. It's a kinder, gentler sort of thing, and I feel like you really get a taste of the musicianship that they have going on, because like there's not a lot to get lost in this song. There's a lot to get lost in a lot of Rush songs, but this one is very straightforward.
I was going to say, right before you said the word straightforward, the first word that popped in my mind was straightforward. It's a very straightforward song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you're going to touch on this a little later, so I'm not going to spoil too much, but I also think, though, this is one of those songs that there are parts in this that most people would point to and go, that's what I don't like about Geddy Lee's voice.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she's going to address that again a little later to help you out if you are a person who listens to the song and goes, nope, nope, I don't like his voice. But the next one is one also that I could get into, hey, this is if you don't like his voice initially, because this is a lot lower in Geddy's range.
Yes.
More of, he's almost singing in a speaking voice.
Yeah, for sure. It's the song Subdivisions, which, you know, I love a song that says something, and I feel like a song like this is probably why so many men kind of gravitate towards Rush, because the message of this song speaks to a certain type of guy.
Yeah, and well, I would also argue that this is one of those songs that lyrically, unfortunately, has become more and more relevant. As time goes on. Like when I was a little kid and I heard this song, there were points in my life where I was like, oh, I'm glad that's not a thing anymore, because like where I grew up was like fairly unified, you know. And then the older you get and you look at the rest of the world, and especially what's going on now, which, unless you're watching this on your phone, put down your phone, go talk to real people out in the world, don't be on Twitter all the time. But this song shows that, like, it's unfortunate. I would love to hear the song and be like, boy, remember when things were like that? You know?
Yeah.
And the keyboard work is great.
Oh my gosh, it's so great. It's so great. And just to put a little levity on it, every time, you know, we're in the car and we're passing like new developments being built, I always go subdivisions. And it's just... Yeah, I know. That's very true. Do that. Yeah, we have a lot of Rush references in our car. We sure do.
The next song that you have on your list is one that the first time I ever saw Rush was on the Counterparts tour, and my brother-in-law was with me, and he's seasoned Rush fan. He'd seen him in the 70s and all that type of stuff. And when this song started, I don't think I've ever seen a human being more happy than that, because this was back before you could just look up set lists and stuff. It was like song to song, none of us knew what's going to happen, right? Yeah. And then when the song started with like swirling pictures of trees, he was like, oh Lord, yeah. So
yeah, the song is The Trees, and lyrically, this song is probably my favorite Rush song because, first of all, it's at face value, it's trees quarreling, like literal trees quarreling. But, there's so much more to it. It's a great metaphor is pretty much what I'm going to get at with it.
And not to skip ahead on your notes, yeah. But you have in caps, you have Neil Peart did this all the time. Right? And I think that's something that's lost because not that there's any sort of Led Zeppelin Rush war, but a lot of people always point to the fact that Zeppelin really leaned on Tolkien, right? Or Tolkien, however you're supposed to say it. And a lot of people don't really look at Rush and realize that Neil Peart was writing very sci-fi, fantasy type stuff.
He totally was. And this is one of them. I mean, if you want kind of that side of Rush, this is the song to start with for sure.
The last album that you're going to hit is Moving Pictures, and most people are probably rolling their eyes already going, oh, Tom Sawyer. No, she didn't pick Tom Sawyer. This is the song that I was referencing earlier. If you're the person who goes, I don't ever want to listen to Rush because I can't stand Geddy Lee's voice, boy, does Lauren have some news for you.
Sure do. There's an instrumental track called YYZ, or if you're Canadian, like Rush, YYZ. And this just shows what they can do without, having to hear Geddy Lee sing.
Yeah. This is one of those songs that as soon as you hear this without Geddy Lee's voice, which is so distinctive, inside of 30 seconds, you're like, this is Rush, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even if you're watching this video and you've not heard a lot of Rush in your life, I'm pretty sure if you start the song, you'd be like, oh, this is what I expected from Rush. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just from when I heard them. So those are the 5 songs that Lauren thinks that you should start with. And like she said at the beginning, too, like, she didn't mean to snub, Clockwork Angels or Counterparts or Test for Echo or any of that stuff. But for me, I agree with it when I look at this list. But if you're a longtime Rush fan, let us know what 5 songs you would tell people to start with first, or what even, like we said with Spirit Radio, what's the first one you would tell people to listen to. If you're not a Rush fan and you took a listen to this video and you checked out a couple of these songs, let us know what you think of that as well. And let us know if you ended up wanting to hear more Rush, or if you are mad at us for suggesting these songs. If you would, please drop a like on the video, share it out on your socials, because that helps us out a great deal. And as we always say, thank you so much for watching.